So I'm on Push Square right now, and I came across this article right here. Spider-Man creative director speaks out on Peter Parker's new face following backlash. Keyword backlash, as if anyone's surprised about this. This entire situation to me is just hilarious, because it's like, you guys brought the backlash upon yourself. Every time game developers complain about, oh, I received death threats on Twitter. Oh, this person sent me this. It's like you brought it upon yourself for people to react in a negative way. People just don't have a strong negative reaction without any reason, unless you're on YouTube, because you have some really stupid ass motherfuckers up on YouTube. But when it comes to creators, when it comes to game developers or whatever, actors, film directors, whatever animosity that they receive, it's not completely unjustified. No one should condone someone sending anyone on a platform like Twitter a death threat message, but at the same time, when I see things like this, and then in this particular situation, the game director will go online and just start making excuses, coming up with just random shit, random reasons as to why, they decided to change the look of a character's face in a video game, and then scratch their head as to why they're receiving death threats on the internet. I mean, whose fault is it? Because there was nothing wrong with the old face model. People liked the old face model. So why would you change it to something that's clearly inferior? It just fucking baffles me. And then what really pisses me off isn't even like the game developers that have come out and defended Insomniac's stupidity. The game developers will stand together because they work in the same industry. They see each other as allies, right? And so when one of them gets, rightfully so in this situation, criticized, then others will jump to their defense. But what really pisses me off are these fucking clowns in the community saying dumb shit like, today I'm embarrassed to call myself a gamer. If you're that embarrassed to call yourself a gamer, if you're that embarrassed against people being upset about something that clearly they don't like in a video game, and you're a part of the same community and it affects you too, then you don't need to be a gamer. You don't need to be a part of the community. You don't need to play video games. You need to find yourself a different hobby. That's what you need to do. There's a reason why people are upset about this. And this is far from the first time there's been a huge controversy against a game developer for the nonsense that they try and pull with these products. It's far from the first time this has happened. If you look at the controversy with Star Wars Battlefront 2 when that game came out a few years ago, the loot box and the microtransactions controversy surrounding that entire game, the game developers got death threats too. Again, not condoning death threats, but at the same time, they brought it upon themselves. There was no reason to change the character's face. People grow attached to a character after spending so long with them, after spending so many hours with them in a video game. To change it to something that is objectively worse is just, what do you expect? Do you expect people to be happy about the change? Do you think people are going to be just okay and, oh, okay, they changed his face? It's like, no, it's a big deal. People are trying to write this shit off. Bloody hell, it's ridiculous. I grew up on Polygon. This has been absolutely the dumbest thing to be upset about. Except it's not the dumbest thing to be upset about at all. People were getting upset when they changed Chris Redfield's face in Resident Evil 7. There has to be a consistency with these fictional characters. If they appear to be something else than what people are familiar with, then people are rightfully so going to get upset. It's no different than changing the ethnicity of a fictional character. If you blatantly change the identity of a character, then yeah, people are going to be upset. In this case, the face of Peter Parker is a big part of the identity of who Spider-Man is. People were more than satisfied with the original face model for the PS4 version, so it makes perfect sense why people are upset. Making excuses for the game developers does nothing but ensure that, they'll make more dumb decisions in the future. And next time it could be something that's actually more serious than what this is. It's like if you played a Resident Evil game starring Leon Kennedy, who's probably the most popular character in that franchise, and they changed his face model to the point where he's no longer recognizable. You wouldn't even know who the fuck he is. Could be a random nobody. People would flip the hell and back if Capcom did some shit like that. Speaking of Capcom, look at what they did to Dante in the reboot to Devil May Cry, DMC Devil May Cry, that came out several years ago. People flipped about that. It's the same situation. It would be like if they changed Kratos' face for God of War to the point where he looks younger than what he's supposed to be. It would be the same situation. There was no reason to do this at all. Stop making excuses for the fucking game developers. And stop pretending that people who are upset, there's something wrong with them. Apparently, there's something wrong with their mental health, or whatever excuse you want to, pull from your ass. Some of these people that are out on the internet saying this isn't a big deal when it is. Don't try and fabricate narratives that the game developers are in complete control to do whatever they want to do and not be held accountable for anything that they do wrong. Something that doesn't make fans happy. And just as they have the right to do whatever they want with the games that they're working on, we have the right to not support them, because without the fans, they wouldn't have a job. They need us to buy their game. It's not the other way around. Like I said, this entire situation is just dumb. The only way to hold game developers and publishers accountable for the dumb shit that they do is to not buy their products. It's really that simple. Once they start seeing that the money's not flowing, that's when they'll make changes to actually please the fans, please the audience that they're trying to reach. And with this situation, it really didn't make any sense because they already had goodwill with the fans. So why would you go and do something that's blatantly stupid, like changing the face of Peter Parker? And I can't stand people like this. I can't stand motherfuckers like this. People on the internet are pathetic. I'm getting bored of people slagging off on PlayStation and Sony for everything they do. The only group of people who's pathetic are the people who make excuses for these fucking companies. If you don't have a dog in this fight, you need to shut your fucking mouth. Plain and simple. People are too accepting, too ready to believe any narrative that these companies throw at them. And people just don't want to, think for themselves, which is a big problem with the video game community as a whole. This user right here, I really don't believe this was Insomniac's call. We don't have any proof of that, so I'm not going to comment on that. I have a sneaking suspicion that Marvel and Sony made this call in order to get someone who looks more like Tom Holland. To be the case. Again, we don't have any proof of that. I don't buy this excuse of them saying that the face needs to be updated for future proofing, because no one else aside from Parker seems to be getting new faces. Now that makes sense. They're not changing any of the other face models or whatever for any of the other characters. And why does the character now look suspiciously more like Tom Holland? Like I said, this entire situation is just dumb. Insomniac had absolutely no reason to do this at all. None. But it is what it is. I won't be buying Spider-Man Remastered. As I stated in the last video I made on this topic, if this is going to be the permanent face of Peter Parker, and yes, it does matter because Spider-Man's identity is Peter Parker. Peter Parker is Spider-Man. That's his identity. That's the character's identity. And so if I don't like the character's identity, then I don't want to play as the character. If I don't want to play as the character, then I don't want to support Insomniac in any of their future Spider-Man games. It's really that simple. All of the hate and all of the animosity, all of the rage, the creative director or anyone else that's working at Insomniac that they've gotten online, all of that is something that they brought upon themselves. And what's really bullshit about this is they opted to change his face, quote unquote, to give him more of a youthful appearance, but then they don't change the goddamn voice actor so the voice actually matches the new face. So that just tells me they're lazy with this all the way around. It's just something just completely dumb and stupid of a decision for them to make. It is what it is. Once again, I won't be supporting it. Why the fuck would you do that? Like I said, man, fuck this shit. Fuck Spider-Man Remastered. Absolute nonsense.